Hi, everybody. My name is Dr. Billy Abraham. I'm a professor of tourism and hospitality management. I teach in many universities and colleges, and my purpose in opening this channel is to help you, especially if you're just getting started, you're a PhD student, or you just graduated and you want to get your research career going, and you don't always know where to publish, how to get started. There are all sorts of things like impact factor and site score and so much confusing stuff. And here we will discuss all of these things in order to organize all the information and make it simple and hopefully bring you a lot of value by giving you the tips based on my experience. Had I known when I was a PhD student, all the things that we will discuss in this channel, I think that my research career would have started much, much earlier. And today I would have been in a very, very different position. Although I'm not in a bad position, I'm doing very well. But I think that knowing the things that we're going to discuss in this channel will significantly give a boost to your career in research. So every week I will be posting a video here, and we'll be discussing different comments, different topics. If you have any questions, you want me to discuss something specific, please write it down in the comments below. I will be looking at the comments, and maybe in my next video, I will also refer to your particular topic, and we'll make it a whole topic of the next video. Okay, so once a week. If you like this video, please subscribe, like, share with your classmates, your colleagues who might find this valuable. So let's get started. In this video, I will be answering three major questions. The first one is, should we first write up our manuscript and then choose a journal, or vice versa? First select the journal and then write up our manuscript. I will also be answering the question, how should we go about choosing a journal? There are different journals. Some of them have an impact factor. Some of them don't have an impact factor. We have to be very careful with the journals we publish in that have a major impact on our promotional prospects. And the final question is, once we select the journal, what's next? How do we work from there? So let's start with the first question. Should we first write up our manuscript and then choose a journal, or vice versa? Well, my advice to you would be to first select the journal and then write up your manuscript. The reason is because you should get an idea as to what kind of studies are published in the journal. What are the requirements as far as the sample size? Does the journal prefer a mixed approach, quantitative and qualitative? You should also learn about the structuring and formatting requirements of the journal. This can help you a lot before you start writing, because if you start writing and then you look for a journal, then you might be doing double work. And I think this is something we should be avoiding. The other thing I would like to answer is, how should we go about choosing a journal? Well, here I have a few points that I would like to discuss. First, you should become familiar with the most popular journals in your field. How do you know which one is more popular? Consult your colleagues, your supervisor, and professors. Okay, you should always strive, although it's very difficult today, but possible, very possible, of course. It's a lot of hard work, but doable. You should strive to publish in top journals with the highest impact factor. You should submit manuscripts to journals with an impact factor and avoid ones that don't have an impact factor. And the reason is because, for example, if you are now an assistant professor and you want to be promoted to associate professor, there are some universities in the States, of course, it depends on the faculty and the department, that would require you to publish at least 20 articles, where half of them have been published in journals with an impact factor. Okay, so you really want to have at least 10, 12 articles with an impact factor if you're working your way up to a professorship. And of course, if you can have all of them with an impact factor, it only increases your image and standing in the field. You should be aware of predatory journals. Predatory journals are the kind of journals that are not associated with any one of the prominent publishers like Sage, Emerald. Okay, and these are the type of journals that would say something like in the website, in the description, we conduct very quick reviews, 2-3 days, 2-3 weeks, you get a response, pay us $200, $300. Well, they're predatory because they have an editorial board, but in many cases, they don't send articles to any one of the editorial board members. I really don't know what goes on, but basically they're fake. They're fake journals, and no reputable university or college will promote you, to assistant professor, associate professor, and full professor based on articles published in those journals, because there's no peer review. You just pay money and they'll publish anything. So be careful, please, guys. Select the journal with the smallest impact factor when initially submitting an article, and based on comments and improvements that you'll be making to the article, submit to higher impact factor journals. Although you might choose to start with a high impact factor journal if you know that the level of novelty and the theoretical contribution of your manuscript is super, super, super high. Okay, if you want to get published in very high impact factor journals, your article, your paper has to be very novel and has to make a very, very significant contribution to theory. If it doesn't make a very high contribution, then a smaller impact factor journal might be a better place to publish. We'll also be discussing this in one of our videos here in this channel. You should always choose topics that are related to things that are happening now, things that might interest the editor, things that might interest readers of the journal. Try to avoid doing research based on contexts, based on, World War II, unless there's some relevance to what is happening today, because high impact factor journals, very prominent journals, they're looking for papers that make significant theoretical contributions, but they also want something that is relevant to today's world affairs. Okay, if you have little or no experience, I would advise you to start out with a low impact factor. As I said before, it will enable you to improve your paper in each iteration based on comments and feedback received by reviewers. Now look, once a journal was selected, I advise you to visit its website and read the author guidelines. Okay, see what type of articles the journal accepts for publication, qualitative, quantitative, some of them like the mixed approach, the word limit for each type of article. Many journals publish different kind of articles, commentaries, research notes. We'll be discussing the differences between each one of them in future videos, full manuscripts, and of course the word limit varies from one type of article and to the other. So if you want to publish a research note, which is a very short research article, sometimes somewhere between 1,500 words and 3,000 words, you don't want to write something longer than start cutting down words, because that's a very difficult task. Okay, so you should know in advance what kind of article you want to write, and then the writing becomes more efficient. And you should also read about formatting requirements and referencing style that can vary significantly from one journal to the other. I also advise you to download recently published papers to get a sense of the accepted sample size, whether they require pilot studies. The sample size of a pilot study, sometimes it's 20, sometimes it's 40. Okay, this can also give you a sense of the structure and the section titles or headings that you should give. For example, if you look at the methodology section, in some articles it'll be called methodology, and others it'll be called methods. Okay, sometimes it's methods and results, because for different reasons some journals connect between the methods and results, and some journals separate between the two. Okay, so you really have to get a sense as to the structure. This will save you a lot of work. So guys, now that we know where we would like to publish our next research and are ready to undertake our research, in my next video, I will give you practical tips related to the planning of your research, which if executed properly, can increase the odds that your manuscript will be accepted for publication in the journal of your choice. If you like this video, please click on the like button, subscribe, share the video, and I will see you next week with another clip. And hopefully, you will be getting on your way to becoming a prominent researcher in your field. Thanks, guys. See you next week.